open the meeting. 7:03, it is May 11, 2026, the Warren Planning Board. Don't sit, we'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, discussion with a possible vote to reorganize the board. Any suggestions?
You.
It's your final term,
That's okay.
right?
Yes,
Sure.
positive. You don't want me till I'm in my 80s, no. 90s, no.
Any suggestions, any?
It's rich all the way.
Oh my God.
So right now, just for people's information, so they're up to date, currently Rich is the chair, Derek is the vice chair, Drew is the clerk, and then Karen and Ray are members.
And so it's Drew, and probably Derek is next, and then me, and then Ray
Let's
and Karen.
see. So, let's see.
Yeah, let's do that.
Drew, Rich,
Oh, okay.
Derek, Ray, Karen is like the seniority order.
I'll take the seat.
You want to do?
Yeah, I'll take
Chair?
the seat. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Drew is appointing.
Yes,
All right, so there's a let's,
I would like to appoint Derek as,
well, you have to make a motion.
I
You wanna
make a motion
Yeah,
that Derek is president of the,
chair.
chair of the planning board.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Drew King, aye.
Ray Capaco, aye.
Karen, would I?
You can't vote.
You,
Oh, sorry,
Rich
Greg.
Hacker, aye.
I can vote.
You can vote for yourself.
No.
You've been outvoted.
Yeah, I'm not voting.
All right, so Derek is the chair. So by the way, Karen didn't get sworn in, so everybody knows.
Okay.
So, you want to take over from here? We need a vice chair and a clerk.
I'll make a motion that Rich Eichaker be appointed vice chair.
Second,
All in favor?
Drew King, aye.
Ray Capaco, aye.
Rich Hacker, aye. That's fine.
Betty Bailey's no.
You're just gonna be contrary and all, right? Okay. Need a clerk.
I make a motion that Ray Capaco be clerk.
If I could, Mr. Chair, it's my intention to resign in the near future. And so I appreciate the nomination, but I'm gonna respectfully decline.
Do you wanna be the clerk? Well, it's
Can I
between
vote
one of
or?
you. No, we can nominate you and
Yeah,
vote you
she-
in, but
yeah.
you cannot.
But you
vote.
can't.
That's all
Would
right.
you mind being clerk?
What is the role of clerk?
It's
Sign the meeting minutes?
sign the meeting minutes.
Except everybody signs the meeting minutes, so.
You just, if these two are sick, then you have to do something.
You'd have to run the meeting, I guess.
Yes, and
Which-
I didn't know how to do it and I never have.
Okay.
So we'll just rely on this kind soul.
And it's a high likelihood that if both the chair and the vice chair weren't present, you'd probably just
Cancel the meeting.
Yeah.
cancel the meeting or push it forward or whatever.
You don't want to stay clerk, Drew?
I don't care.
You could stay clerk.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll make a motion that Drew King be nominated for clerk on the planning board.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I'm not gonna vote for myself.
You can abstain.
I abstain.
Ray Capaco, aye.
Rich Hacker, aye.
Betty Bailey's aye.
All right.
The other thing I'm gonna request if I can sit on the end of this chair, this table. I don't need to be in.
I know, actually, I think the end is better, because you
Yeah.
can see everybody.
Yeah.
Like going back.
Again,
Without
quicker.
turning your head.
Mhm.
from here, when I'm watching my car, you know, nobody can tell until it looks like I'm talking to you. All right, so let's continue. Review and discuss any unanticipated approval not required A&R's requests.
We do not have any.
No. Okay. We're gonna public hearing on the site plan approval application of Paquette Bros Contracting.
Have to open the hearing.
So they're here, you guys, is that you? Okay, so we're gonna open the hearing pursuant to MGL Chapter 48. Notice is hereby given that the Warren Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Monday, May 11th, 2026 at 7:10 on the application of Paquette Bros Contracting LLC. The hearing will be held at the Warren Senior Center located at 2252 Main Street in West Warren. The applicant, Paquette Bros Contracting LLC, is requesting a site plan approval, SPR number 73, under section 5.32.1 of the zoning bylaws to allow construction of 6 two-family dwellings served by a single driveway at Cemetery Road, in the Assessor's Map 23, Lot 54, 57.1, and 58, in the Village District. A complete copy of the application may be inspected in the office of the Planning Board or the Town Clerk during normal business hours. Anyone interested or wishing to be heard on this application should appear at the time and place designated. So the hearing is open. And
So, Mr. Chair.
yes, sir.
I think we talked about opening and continuing this hearing, right?
Yes,
Because you're
we
not
did.
done with conservation.
Right, but I figured so
Okay.
we're ready for conservation.
So we're not gonna continue?
Well, they want to make a
Okay.
presentation.
Where should I set up? The best place.
Right here?
Actually, right there.
Right here.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's good.
that
Because
was
this camera may catch you over there and
mine. Yeah.
we can all see it.
This is just your markup. One of our markups.
I really like this project.
So I'm Jason DuBois, DC Engineering and Survey, in Charlton. Justin Paquette from Paquette Brothers Realty, Contracting. So this property is on Cemetery Road. It's an old gravel pit area. There is a pretty substantial berm along the roadway now, so you can't really see in there unless you were to drive down Cemetery Road, and then there's kind of an access that gets into the site. So this plan is to construct 6 duplexes. As you can see on the plan, it's about between a 5 and 6 acre property. So right when you come down off of Commons Pond Road, you turn on the cemetery, and there's a 90-degree bend that goes down like this. The plan is to come into the site right around the bend and continue in. The 6 buildings are shown, as you can see here. We do have 31 parking spaces for those units, as well as sidewalks and access ways to each building. There's a decent hill in the back of the property here that's going to remain as it is. So we're basically just using kind of the area that's already opened up. As you said, we are in conservation, and they're working out some riverfront, things like that. So we will be looking for a continuance. I think at this point, we're just looking for any comments or feedback, so we can do kind of one go around of revisions on the plans, and then get revised plans back out to both Conservation Commission and the Planning Board, and go from there. So I think do you have sets of plans? I only brought like the site plan itself. I didn't bring all the supervising.
Yeah, I didn't bring my stuff because I didn't know we were getting a presentation. But can we do a site visit?
Yeah.
Okay. While you're waiting for conservation anyway.
Right.
I don't know if we should schedule something in the next couple weeks, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Works for you guys.
Is there anything currently planned for conservation to visit?
They already did.
They did
They
a
already
site
did,
visit,
okay.
yes.
Yeah, a while ago, I guess, right?
Okay.
I think it was Yeah, it was April 23rd. Yeah, my next meeting with them is the 19th, so,
How do
So
you,
maybe, oh, go ahead.
how do you foresee your project? Is it, looking good? Is it positive?
yeah, it's positive.
Okay.
Just, we'll see what everyone else thinks.
I think conservation was okay, right? There was some items
Yeah.
a couple items to revise on the plan. But we're just trying to keep both boards and both hearings open so that, kind of the last minute, we close them both so that everybody's satisfied before we close one and then have to make changes and reopen and stuff.
Yeah. So you're gonna meet with Conservation on May 19th?
Yes.
So maybe we should do a site walk after that, because then you'll be able to talk about the
Right,
whole
okay.
thing.
Do you wanna do the following week? What days work for you guys as a board? Just during the day, is it after hours? What do you guys usually do?
I don't know,
I can do any day at noon, if that helps.
which
Or
is-
earlier, like from,
Yeah.
May 19.
from 8 to
No, just after May.
Oh.
1.
Ray, how long are you gonna be on?
I figured I'd probably 2 or 3 more meetings. I didn't want to just jump right away. but-
Okay,
Yeah, probably enough to get
To get through this.
visited. Yeah.
yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
good. I mean, maybe like the,
I just can't do the last.
we could do the 20th, if we wanna meet the day after.
That works. That works for me.
Yeah.
20 is good.
At noon?
At noon.
Drew, would you participate?
I might just drive over there on my own and take a look. I can do that.
Okay.
And then it's okay.
The 20th?
Is it okay if, on this site visit, we take pictures and all that?
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's
Yep.
fine.
I don't see why not, I just have to ask permission to do it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's fine.
It's like an open sand pit right now, pretty much.
We've been there, I've been
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, we've done gravel pit inspections there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the planning board.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
When you go,
Yeah.
Yeah, I went a few years ago when we inspected that site. My background as an architect is like, I want to build a house here. It is like an oasis in the middle of everything, because you can't even tell you're there. It's a beautiful place.
And so it's clear enough that we can get an idea of where things, like you can say, okay, building here, building
Yes.
here, okay, yeah. Okay.
So you wanna do Wednesday?
Wednesday, May 20th, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's next Wednesday, right?
Yeah, that's next Wednesday, yeah.
And I will send out
Yeah, put it on the
like
calendar.
a calendar
Yeah,
invite for
that's
everyone,
great.
just as a reminder.
What time do you guys think?
Hmm?
Did we decide that, noon?
Yes.
Okay, Wednesday, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Okay.
If it's pour raining, then we can
Yeah.
reschedule it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Warren needs this kind of project. It's a good project for Warren.
So there's a letter from an abutter.
Mm-hmm.
Do we wanna like read that now or?
Could you read it for me? I don't have my
Yeah.
glasses.
All right, so I'll just read the whole thing. This is from, a person, have you seen this? 74 Cummins Pond Road. Members of the planning board, I'm writing regarding the proposed development of multiple duplex units on a property owned by Mr. Paquette, scheduled for a public hearing on May 11th. Although I'm unable to attend in person due to overseas commitments, I respectfully request that my concerns be entered into the record and considered as part of the board's review. My property is in close proximity to the proposed development, and it extends up over the creek and bank. I am concerned that the project may adversely affect both scale of the neighborhood and drainage conditions in the area. Specifically, I ask the board to consider the following. Density and scale, the number of proposed units appears substantial relative to the surrounding area. Careful consideration should be given to whether the scale of this development is consistent with the existing neighborhood. drainage and infrastructure. Because my property extends over the creek and bank, I am particularly concerned that increased development may alter drainage patterns, runoff, and the stability or condition of adjacent land. A thorough evaluation should be conducted to ensure no adverse impact on neighboring properties. I respectfully request that the board take these concerns into account and require appropriate safeguards and conditions should the project move forward. Thank you for your time and consideration. Joe Bonby.
Property?
Hmm?
Do we know like which?
Yeah,
property it is?
It's like over here somewhere.
It's on the other side of the river.
Yeah, this is the old Fountain property, and it's the next one over. If you look at the assessor map. How many residents do you think are gonna, or what's the
Let
capacity?
me rephrase that. How big is each unit? How many square feet?
That's the plan.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Each one?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that 1800, because it's too close.
Yeah.
So they're 1,800 square feet. Each duplex.
Yeah, and so we have about, it will be like
Each wall.
Yes.
12 times 5, kind of 5.5, you know, if you take a couple with kids and everything, that's the population that we're gonna get there.
So there's the site, and that's his property.
That's the, what, from the letter?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's this weird, like, C-shaped
The
kind of
long,
thing. Yeah,
That's what-
long part of it connecting to.
So basically,
Yeah.
it's like from the
it
road.
borders up to the road, yeah, yeah.
And I'll be concerned too about the water runoff, but I think that's why
Yeah, it's a little
conservation
shorter.
is taking
Yeah,
care
so we have a full drainage system
Yeah.
on the site. We have an infiltration basin that's on the lower corner of the site.
I
It's
saw that,
it's all 2-minute gravel, so the water's gonna go into the basin and most of it's gonna recharge back into the ground. Plus the stream, the brook is a very large defined channel. I mean, it's probably, 20 feet?
Oh, yeah.
So there's no water's gonna get over the brook and affect his property. And a lot of this area that's exposed gravel currently is gonna be proposed lawn. And so it's-
I'll throw you our last unit on the end. The water on that roof, where does that end?
Which one now?
So the one that's already
The
farthest to the west?
This
Yeah,
one?
that one. The water that
Yeah,
hits that roof, where
Yeah.
will end up?
it'll end up in the basement.
So all the drainage is pitched
Yeah.
to that?
Yeah, it'll flow down and then come across like through the lawn area here and it goes into the basement.
Are there drainage pipes, or you're just relying on the grade?
We're kind of doing like country drainage on this one. It all kind of sheet flows across the parking lot and then there's a swale, not hugely defined, but there's a dip
Oh,
right along like the lawn area that routes the water to here. And there is a catch basin at the lower corner of it, so anything that's missed is picked up. And that basin, that drainage pipe discharges to the same areas of the detention basin, which will go back into the river.
Are they like 2 to 3 bedroom units?
Yes, 3-bedroom.
3 bedroom, all?
Yes.
so how many people do you think will be in here, and how many vehicles, let's say?
Well, they have 2.5 parking spaces for each unit. So if they have 12, it will be 24 plus 6, 30, right?
Yeah, we have 30.
30 cars?
31, you got a plan for the snow, you know, where we're gonna put the snow, you're gonna be a dumpster? Are you gonna work, are you gonna have a
I was gonna,
association or?
yeah, I think they're gonna be condos, so there'll be association.
Yeah, so you have to contemplate where the dump is gonna be, where the snow gonna be pushed in the winter, and, you know, account for every single, you know, roof area and parking and sidewalks where that water is gonna go.
Yeah, that's all, we have a full HydroCAD analysis report. that was-
Yeah, that's really what I'm relying on, because that's what's gonna keep our neighbors safe. You know, basically, I can tell from the letter what the concern is.
Mhm.
And, you know, one of the things, I know that there's not much vegetation over there because it's already a pit, but whatever trees and everything you can conserve, the better that it will be, you know, so you keep it.
Yeah, there really isn't any tree removal other than just through the berm, where the berm's gonna be flattened out. But we did do a landscaping plan as well that shows, you know, shrubbery and.
That would be great, like, you know, we talked about in the past, make this a beautiful concept project, you know, so people really wanna move over there.
Right.
And that's, even if it's small scale, simple and everything, duplex is relatively medium size, home, you know, but it should be the appealing, it should be like make people, and it's all in your advantage because people wanna go and live over there, they'll buy it,
Right.
so.
Well, I think we talked last time about the prospect for an outbuilding or a garage of some kind for like mowing equipment or snow removal, anything like that. Is that still in, are you still considering that, or? I was wondering if that lower.
Right, so I think if they're gonna be condos, like an association, I think people are just gonna have to hire out
Okay.
landscaping and snow
Yeah,
removal,
okay.
you know, that way nothing will be stored on the property.
Okay, so you won't continue to have involvement for the maintenance of the properties at all, it'll all be, you'll,
They'll turn it over.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to a
Okay.
condo association.
okay.
You have a thing for berm stabilization, so where is that happening? Come on. So it's on the, what page is this?
That eastern side of the property?
It says slope stabilization installation.
Which one is that?
Right here?
Oh, that's for any slopes that would be over 3 to 1.
Oh, this is just in general. This is
Yeah,
not a
because any
specific-
slopes over 3 to 1 would require a slope stabilization method, which would be,
Oh, I see. So could that possibly happen on the back of
that would be like in this area here. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, slope treatment required for slopes greater than 3 to 1 so you can see the hill.
okay.
Yeah.
And then you've got a check dam on that same page too.
Yeah, there'd be a check dam right before the entrance to the basin itself. It's like a sediment forebay that separates the basin, so it's like an initial settling, area prior to it getting into the main part of the basin.
Okay. And does the basin have like a spillway or something?
It does.
It overflows?
Yep, there's a spillway here, which is, still above the 100-year flood elevation.
Mhm.
And then there's an outlet pipe here, which is a 12-inch outlet pipe, to a flared end section, and then like a large riprap, like that you dissipated before it goes off the site.
What sort of maintenance is required on the basin?
Just mowing the side slopes, keeping any debris out of it, but,
Okay.
yeah.
So so it doesn't have to be cleaned periodically, or does it?
It can be, but that's what the sediment forebay is for, so there's only a small area that would have any,
Okay,
that would have any sediment in it.
okay, so it should be all clean water,
Yeah,
hopefully.
correct.
Okay.
I would suggest to start drawing the sidewalks, you know, showing all that,
The what?
the sidewalk around the parking lot.
Yep.
So if you're gonna print more drawings, start showing a little bit more detail of the landscaping and that.
Yeah, I think you have a landscaping plan in one of your sheets.
So it's existing contours,
Oh, that's probably right, trees.
but I don't see the sidewalks.
Well, there's no actual sidewalk around the parking lot.
Well, we talked about that. There should
Sidewalk.
be, you can't really, park at the edge of the, and pretend that, people are just gonna start walking on the grass.
Well, no, there is sidewalks in each unit, like there's a sidewalk that goes
Yes,
into that.
but if I park on the right side and I'm on the first unit, which way I'm gonna go? It's like there's no you're just gonna walk on the grass, and in the winter, how are you gonna plow that, so people don't?
Yeah, I think the intention was that kind of, these people would kind of park
That
right
is
in the front of
the
their building.
sidewalk around the parking lot is missing.
Yeah, okay, we can have a sidewalk.
Yeah.
We could have a sidewalk on both, basically both, on both
Just for,
sides.
it's safety,
Yeah.
it's ornamental, it should be, if you have somebody handicapped over there, you screwed up.
Yeah, I don't know that duplexes are required to be handicap accessible.
Well, you wanna make this an example.
Right, but I don't know that it's a requirement by,
I'm not requiring it, I'm not
Yeah.
asking you,
Yeah.
but just think about it,
yeah,
you get, it's, let's say, there are 4 inches of snow and you're parking, you went to the groceries and you're trying to get to your house, all the parkings are full because there's still snow over there, and you get off and now you're going over the snow on top of the grass.
yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of room between the parking and the buildings. Due to the.
Less grass to mow.
Yeah,
But yet, a project like this, that's something that the planning board wants to really see it. Because if you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it right. That's
so
the only thing.
we don't have berms proposed either on this parking lot.
Don't have what?
We don't have berms, there's no asphalt berms. It's just like flush, with the lawn area.
Oh, I see, okay. So curbing, no
No
curbing.
curbing.
Yeah.
Part of that is so the water will sheet flow off into the, into the lawn and then make its way to the.
So what happens in the winter?
I mean, I didn't really think too much of it. I mean, it's same as like a Walmart. I mean, there's no sidewalks. They walk through the parking lot. So I think I was intending
But
that they
in
would.
Walmart, you have the pavement, and they do have intent sometimes with the cross lines to go over.
Yeah.
And if the guy comes with a plow and starts plowing and starts lifting all the grass and everything, because they are not careful. I really want you to be an example of how this should be.
So we should have berms and sidewalks.
Well, even if they're flush, it could be.
Flush sidewalks.
Yeah, but I would like to see safety over there around the park.
I mean, we can add like a 4-foot strip of asphalt in the front of the, parking spaces.
You have a stop for the cars, so when they park, they stop.
Yeah, even those little bumpers.
Yeah, the bumpers, yeah.
Like they have out here.
Yeah, like here.
Bumpers.
Yeah.
But then plowing kind of turns into a nightmare with all those wheel stops. I mean,
Well,
It-
one
it's-
thing is, you don't
it's-
plow the sidewalks.
What's that?
You don't plow the sidewalks, you use a snowblower to do the sidewalks.
yeah, but to plow, a plow would be constantly hitting the wheel stops, where, right now, we kind of would just, I mean, this parking lot, they would probably, have to clear out these ends, and then they would just push the snow back and pile it up like at the entrances, and some of it they would probably push off too, but it's not a very big parking lot, really.
I don't know, this is a great opportunity to do something nice, as you start, if you live there, then it becomes something different.
Because it's riverfront, we're really restricted with the amount of area that we can kind of alter, so we're
I understand.
really squeezed into the middle of this thing with everything.
Then your parking is 18, 24, 18, I believe?
Yes.
What's the average space from the parking lot to the duplex?
To the building,
Yeah.
it's probably about 10 feet.
Yeah, about 10 feet.
I mean, we could add like a 4-foot asphalt strip as well, so that they could go in front of the car and then walk down the asphalt strip instead of at the back of the car.
Yeah, because what I was,
So you need some way to delineate parking versus walking, that would be what we think.
if I live in one of these 2 units,
Yeah.
and these 3 parking lots there are cars over there, and I park here, where should I go? There's no like going over here and trying to do that. I'm gonna have to go in front of the cars on the lot.
Well, I think they would probably walk behind the cars. I mean, it's just a duplex, it's not.
Yeah, but that's what I was trying to say. You can't,
What's that?
With 31 parking spaces.
Yeah.
because it's a duplex, we can't look them down example, at church where I go, you know, there's a company who cleans up the parking lot, and then members go in just to plow the sidewalks.
So they go from the wheel stop to the sidewalk to the grass, that's what they do with the snow blower. But from the wheel stop into the parking lot, that's all with the plow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
We
saying?
don't, there's no bump to stop because it's a sidewalk.
Mhm.
Is it a curb? So there's a curb.
Yeah, with a curb, you know, you kind of almost run the plow along the bottom of it without trying to damage it.
Yeah.
With the wheel stops, you're gonna be, there's a space, so the plow would probably,
Yeah,
It would hit
there's a place where
you
the
know.
snow will stay,
Yeah.
because you can't get it out
yeah,
today.
yeah.
Would it help to have assigned parking spaces for each unit? You can't, because there's 4.
Yeah, I think that,
That might be.
Would that be up to the association,
yeah, that, I agree.
like how many guest spaces versus?
Yeah, if you give enough
Spaces.
parking for the whole thing, then they figure out how they wanna give you.
I mean,
that.
you have, they're giving 2 parking spots to each unit, and then 5 or 6 visitors for their open.
Hmm.
And one is taken by the, I don't know where the trash can is gonna be.
Yeah, you can have a dumpster.
You're gonna- Well, we can look at it.
Just think about it, because
Yeah.
if I hear you from a few minutes ago, the water on that roof is gonna come, it's gonna go over there, I'm trying to pass by and it's all, what a bad design. You know?
And if it freezes, quick freeze.
And then they will slip.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why, you know, you do landscaping for safety. I don't wanna, I'm not trying to be the bad guy over here, but,
No, I understand.
you know, if I go to school with this, I'll get an F, because I didn't do it completely. You know, you need, that, it's calling for a sidewalk there.
I wonder if we're going off topic here with, we're not designing it for them. They're presenting a proposal and we either approve it or we don't, and they're the designers, they're the engineers. So this feels like it's turning into a design session.
But they were asking for suggestions,
Yeah.
just a basic presentation.
Right.
It's okay.
But these are things that we can ask for.
Yeah.
Sure,
We can condition, you know.
Yeah,
okay,
Just suggestions for them.
yeah.
Yeah. If we started to tell them what type of asphalt to use, that would be out of line. But I think things like these elements, we can,
Comment.
to make sure, yeah.
You can always just add a berm.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll look into just adding a berm and then we'll put the sidewalk right on the backside of it.
So you just step over a little berm to get on the side.
There'll be like a 6-inch.
Yeah, it's an asphalt curb.
Yeah.
asphalt berm.
Okay, yeah.
Screw drainage and stuff.
You might have to leave little breaks, right? So the water would go through, you know, like it'd be
Well,
10-foot berm, a little break, 10-foot
we
berm.
may have to just add an additional catch basin or something.
Okay. So definitely mention that to conservation, just so, yeah. Once you settle on that.
Okay, go ahead.
okay, so if the board has no more questions, should we look forward for the, visit the site on Wednesday? Next Wednesday?
Yep. And then when would we do? So our next meeting would be on the 8th. We just continue to the 8th, I guess.
Not to interrupt, but Rich, you and I had discussed for June, with the way everything was falling into place, doing the 1st and 15th of June.
Yeah, that would be fine too.
So those were sort of, the next meeting, at least tentatively, is June 1st, and then it would be, the 2 weeks after would be the 15th,
That's fine with me.
just for
That's
TV
good.
planning.
site visit next Wednesday. You're gonna deal with conservation before that. And next meeting with you guys will be on the 1st.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for Paquette Brothers Contracting until June 1st, 2026 at 7 PM.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Drew King, aye.
Rick Echo, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Public hearing continue from April 27, 2026 on the consideration of a proposed floodplain district zoning bylaw amendment. How's that going?
So you got our changes, right?
Yes, so,
I realized I gave them to you, so I couldn't prove what.
yes, so,
Ray had a correction and Karen had a correction.
yes, so it was basically the changes from the draft last time were, I actually have a couple other additional hard copies if anyone would like to take a peek. But for the purpose, for the number 5 item, it was eliminate costs associated with response and cleanup of flooding conditions, and that was changed to eliminate or reduce
Mhm.
costs. And then there was, Karen had found, it was just a line that repeated.
Yeah,
So that repeat of the line was deleted. And those were the 2 notes I received, and those were the 2 edits that were made.
Any actions? What's next?
I guess we vote, what do? We vote to,
So,
To
from here, it basically, presuming that the board would like to move forward with having this on the annual town meeting warrant and all that good stuff. Sort of to wrap everything up, there's a motion and vote to recommend approval or recommend not approving, the amendment. And basically from there, there is a report that gets drafted, very, basically standard report, just saying what happened, here are all the legal, like, sort of check boxes, like it was published, and here, and hearing was opened and closed, and board voted on X, Y, and Z, and that gets publicized ahead of annual town meeting.
okay.
I spoke with, the town administrator as well, just to confirm that process. So that should be pretty straightforward, once there is a decision and any further discussion that people would like to have.
So we can take that decision tonight?
Yeah, we can
Mhm.
vote.
Okay.
You gotta approve it.
Peter, you got something?
Yeah. How is this gonna affect any building in the downtown district? Will this affect, like the police station, if we put up a new building, is it gonna have to conform to these changes?
I believe you probably will answer better than me, but
The building is not in the floodplain.
The downtown district is not.
Well, I don't know about the whole downtown district, but
The bank is-
building is not. which
In a
is-
floodplain.
Yeah,
So that was my concern, that it's not gonna affect any cost. And the fire station, it's not gonna have any effect on that.
Yeah.
That's what I wanna be clear about. I oppose it if it has.
And these are existing buildings, this really affects, if there's this empty site and somebody wants to build something on then a lot of technical stuff happens. Existing buildings, it's more like they get a chance to have the insurance cover for that.
Yeah.
Well, I was just concerned, like the fire station wants to put an addition on right next to the river. And the same with the bank, we're not sure what we're doing with that yet.
Right.
So I'm just stating my concerns to the board, that any changes you make doesn't cost the taxpayers any additional costs for these renovations that we're doing to these buildings, because the changes we're making on zoning, that's all. A lot of people I talk to are not even familiar with what we're doing, so. And the part to do with the farmers, myself, I'm not a farmer, but I know a lot of them might be concerned about the old bylaw, the way it was written versus the new one. I think it puts more cap on what they can do with their vehicles in floodplains.
Which is the right to farm bylaw?
No, to do with the floodplains on brook areas or anything like that will have any effect on their capability to drive through areas with their four-wheel drives or anything?
No, I don't think. I think it's addressing like construction and resilience to flooding.
Okay.
But that's not gonna
That's
cover.
all it has nothing to do with,
Yeah, keeping people like restricting their land use
that's
in
what
terms
I'm
of.
asking you.
Yeah, getting around your land, no.
It's not gonna have any of those kind of restrictions.
It's really to support getting flood insurance. So they're saying, basically, they're kind of saying, look, if you want flood insurance, you have to have a structure that looks like this, or is built like this. So it's really around flood insurance, as opposed to restrictions because of flooding.
Okay, I'm just looking at the old bylaw, and you look at the new, your version that you want to pass, and there is a lot of changes that appear to be in it. And I'm just, as a resident, just concerned with building things that we're doing in town, projects, that this is not gonna add cost to projects. That's all I'm concerned about. Okay, so.
I'll put you an example. If somebody buys the old town hall, the yellow building, and they want to renovate it, they can renovate it and there will be insurance available for them if it was on the floodplain. If it's not, it doesn't pay part. Now, if this new owner tears the whole thing down and builds something new, now the code will say, if you want their insurance, you have to build it this way so it's not gonna be affected by a flood. So it's just new construction, yes, will be a little bit more expensive because you have to do it so if there's a flood, it's not gonna tear down the building.
But that's my whole thing I'm saying about the fire department. They're gonna put an addition on the buildings, what the fire chief would like to do, where the basketball court.
That's
Am I
way
right?
too high up, the
So it's not
flooding
gonna
plain
affect
itself
Outside, it doesn't.
Okay.
doesn't reach that part.
That was a question with the bank building, which seems odd because there was a flood downtown.
Right, that's why
There
I'm,
was like 6 feet of water or 10 feet of water at one point, but it's not.
and that's my
It's
only,
not in the
why,
floodplain.
exactly,
Yeah.
Rich, what you're saying. I don't know for sure, I just, when I first initially read it, it made me think that, I don't wanna have an extra tax bill, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so do we have a motion to vote for this or do we need more time?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the floodplain district zoning bylaw that we've been working on.
Do we have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Drew King, aye.
Red Echo, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved. So keep
So
the
is that-
process.
Is that motion okay, or do we need a motion, as I was reading that, or saying it, to send, send a
So,
report?
the motion, based on various guidance, should be to recommend the approval of the proposed amendment.
Okay,
And words to that effect, because the real approval or lack of
Oh, I
approval
see.
is at annual town meeting
Okay.
from the floor, but sort of the planning board, for any zoning bylaw, this one is coming kind of from the planning board / DCR, what have you, but if there was a citizen petition that said, something that, we wanna give everyone a party hat, and it's zoning bylaw, something silly, the board is obligated to have the hearing and meet on it, but is not obligated to recommend approval on town floor. So the motion is basically whether or not to recommend approval or not recommend approval of the proposal at annual town meeting,
okay.
if that makes sense in my long-winded explanation.
Alright, so,
So we can do it?
Mr. Chairman, just a quick technicality, do we have to close the public hearing? before we make a recommendation.
That's a good point.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is a good.
So
point.
I'll make,
Did I
I'll
tell
make
you
a
to
mo-
jump the gun?
no, that's okay, Is that- because it's a continuation, so.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing regarding the proposed bylaw amendment regarding floodplain district zoning.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Drew King, aye.
Ray Capaco, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. So the hearing has been closed.
Right.
Okay.
Now we're gonna vote, recommend.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to recommend the new floodplain district zoning bylaw to town meeting.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All in
Sorry.
favor?
Drew King, aye.
Ray Capaco, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved. So the recommendation has been approved.
All right, so we're good, right?
Yes, and I can start putting together the little report. It's really just sort of, I hate to say boilerplate, but it's really just sort of like a, here's the process, and here's, you know, how the board voted, and here's what, you know, they're recommending.
Yeah.
You know, so if we voted, you know, it would be whatever the vote is and whatever the result is. So I can draft that up and send it out just for eyes.
Sure.
And then basically that will go to the TA and the board of selectmen to include in all the warrant goodness.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Schedule public hearing for special permit number 317 and site plan review number 7421 Quaker Street, Verizon, New England. These are the plans that we saw today, right?
Yeah.
It's just a little tiny thing.
Yes, so they, Verizon, well, the contractor's working with Verizon New England.
But we cannot talk about it, right? We can just schedule.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we have
basically,
scheduled.
yeah, this is, they submitted this special permit, it was the, I sent it out electronically this morning, I believe, to everyone. You have hard copies there for extra fun, and the, the public hearing deadline, has to be held by July 2nd for this special permit and site plan review.
Can we have it on the same first and get
Yeah,
it
that's
done?
what I was thinking. Just June 1st.
I mean, this project, it's nothing compared to the other one.
Yeah, this is maybe just the one meeting, right?
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
okay, so we'll, propose in the meeting for June 1st to open the, public hearing for special permit number 317, and site plan review number 74.
If I may, I just need to do some quick countback math
See if
just
you have
for
enough time to do it.
yes, for the public hearing advertisements, because it needs to be 2 weeks in the newspaper ahead of the
So you went up
hearings.
again?
Oh, you may not have enough time.
Yeah, so I just wanna
So
check
the
my time
15th?
on that.
Yeah, I think the 15th.
The 15th to allow time for,
Yep, 15th should be doable with the newspaper publishing at least.
okay, so sounds good. The 15th, we will open the meeting for public hearing for the special permit number 317 and site plan review number 74, June 15th.
All righty.
April 27, 2026, meeting minutes for review and approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the April 27th, 2026 meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
So moved, or seconded as me.
All in favor?
I
Were you-
can't, I
you
was
were-
not here.
Okay. Ray Capaco, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Motion approved. Planning board administrative assistant payroll submission.
I'll make a motion to approve the pay period for 4/19/2026 to 5/2/2026 in the amount of $717.76.
Do we have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Drew King, aye.
Ray Capaco, aye.
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. Any new business?
I have a minor piece of new business, if I may. It is very simple new business, but it is the time of year post-election that the Worcester County Registry of Deeds is requesting updated signatures for all the board members so that they can cross-check with the A&Rs that are submitted to make sure that no one is submitting a fraudulent A&R endorsement. So that it is very simple. It is a form with your names, and please sign your name next to your name.
Pass it over.
Yep.
All right, you can start that one going down. I also have 2 payrolls and 2 minutes to sign from, and the payroll and minutes that are also included in this packet were from when I was out sick at the last meeting, but you all already approved them.
And I can see this.
I'll show you this developers.
And prepare your old business.
Oh,
Do you have any old
Sorry.
business?
No more new business before we move?
That's all I have.
So for old business, you know what they, conservation said about Nelson Street?
I don't think they've done anything with it yet.
Okay. Any old business pending? Any comments or concerns?
Yes.
I'm concerned that Ray is leaving, so we wanna try to start pushing that out.
Well, what about the guy who appeared with Karen? Charlie, maybe?
Oh yeah, did you
Yeah.
ever reach out to him for the
I
finance
haven't
position?
yet, yeah, I was gonna look him up and reach out to him and see if he'd be interested.
Could you please do so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's no, rush, but, as you guys know, I just feel like being on the select board, didn't wanna double up. But, so, I'm not gonna leave you high and dry or anything, but, there you go, that's fine. Yeah,
Well,
I'll
if you
stick around for several meetings, I'm not,
We love you, Ray, go. I said it in the meeting.
yeah, I'll reach out to him and,
Yeah, I mean, if you pick an exit date, then he'll know,
yeah. Yeah.
Ray's gonna resign on this day, then you can start kind of.
He, I gave him contact information to solicit him to consider finance, and he didn't follow through with that, but I'll track it down.
Yeah, okay. He may not have been interested in that.
Yeah.
Next meeting, June 1st.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody gonna bring cake? It's my birthday.
It is?
Oh, how about carrot sticks and celery?
No, cake. Come
It's not a
on.
bunny.
I think
We're being healthy.
I think I heard her say she's bringing a carrot cake.
Oh, nice.
Oh my goodness, those are hard.
Make a motion to, let us go out.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
Viking, aye.
Rick Pecco, aye.
Jack Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye. We are adjourned.